Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Sacred Space with me, your host, Preetha Lal, as we spend time reading the book Eternal Values for a Changing Society by the late Srimad Swami Ranganathananda ji. As you are aware, if you're following the space, the Swami was the 13th president of the Ramakrishna Matan mission, but he was also so much more. He was a scholar, a spiritual ambassador, a philosopher, a guide, a teacher, a guru. This multi-volume treatise that I read to you here in this podcast is a perfect testament to the breadth of his knowledge and the depth of his wisdom. Today we read a new chapter titled The Avatara as Divinity, where Swami Ranganathananda explores the essence of the avatar from a historic and spiritual lens and the impact of such heroes in our socio-cultural traditions and ethos. He elucidates effortlessly on this concentrated and intense life energy, as he calls it, and its impact on humanity. Let us begin. The Avatara as Divinity. Introduction. The greatness of any historic hero is a product of lived life and interpretation. A people interpret to themselves their hero generation after generation by participating intellectually and emotionally in the life and being of their hero. The personality of the hero seems to expand and grow in stature and dimension in this historic process. In the words of Swami Vivekananda, and I quote, "Through thousands of years of chiseling and modeling, the lives of great prophets of yore come down to us." Unquote. The Avatara and the interpretive process of history. This rare interpretive process is operative only if the hero is of such a rare type that has achieved a more or less synthesis of the impersonal and personal in his being, and if there is a dynamic spiritual kinship between him and his people, a common spiritual conditioning environment for both of them. Though enveloped thus in the same spiritual mantle, each of them bears a different relation to it. People are relatively static centers except when carried along by the dynamic forces proceeding from a hero who appears as a vortex of thought and movement in the environment, a sort of condenser and radiator in one of the spiritual forces and values around. This is the characteristic that makes a hero in any domain of life. But among heroes, the Avatara, he whom the world recognizes as an incarnation of the divinity, belongs to a special category. The ordinary type of hero does not respond much to this interpretive process. His personality does not grow in the flow of time, whose soil does not seem to hold any nourishment for this type of organism. On the contrary, his stature gets reduced more and more as time passes. This flow of time, however, does not affect all of them in a uniform manner. It is unsparing with some even in their lifetime, while it spares others for a while. To the temple of greatness, as to the kingdom of heaven, many are called but few are chosen. There is a rare type of hero whom time chooses, and India designates this hero as the Avatara. For him, time reserves a role of expanding greatness, while it relegates all other types of heroes to a career of diminishing glory. There is only one factor that conditions the selective process, and that is perfection of character, the fullest flowering of personality, and the more perfect the character, the longer lasts its glory. We can mock or hoodwink everything except time. It consumes all worldly greatness as systematically as it dissolves the mountains and rocks of the world. But it stops short and then even reverses its steps when confronted by a greatness that is unworldly. A greatness that receives its nourishment not from the muscles or mind, but from the spirit, from the sap of the timeless reality of the divine in the human being. The Avatara is that character in its fullest measure, while the saints and prophets and other heroes represent it in varying degrees. In him, the seed of divinity latent in the human and struggling in a hero for expression becomes fully blown, and the human being attains in him his fullest stature and glory. The Avatara, a concentration of power and beneficence. This attainment marks an intense concentration of power and beneficence in the personality of the Avatara, all masked by his limited physical and mental configuration. His earthly being and character, with its time coordinates of so many years and space coordinates of so much height and weight, and other indefinable coordinates of personality like love and knowledge, is a highly deceptive mask to cover the spaceless and timeless amplitude of this being. It is wrong to measure the energy generated in the atom-smashing cyclotron of this personality in terms of the size and weight of that personality. Even in the case of an ordinary individual, the skin is never the frontier of this personality. His familiar physical personality of the three-dimensional world is enveloped and filled by a mental and emotional personality of a more than three-dimensional continuum. His sentiments and affections, interests and dispositions, in short, his emotional and mental well-being, reveal the familiar person to be but a cell in a vast organism belonging to a non-physical world. If even an ordinary human being, unintegrated and unharnessed, is vaster than his physical personality, how much more so will be those integrated characters whom the world calls heroes, and most of all, the few perfectly integrated ones whom it calls avataras. The human being is a denizen not of one world, but of many worlds, which lie about and in him layer after layer, fold after fold. His true being is in touch with all of them, though his conscious being is expressive of only one or two of them. Being is not identical with consciousness. Consciousness is only one part of being. Conscious being is therefore only surface being, limited and circumscribed. The greatness and forcefulness of a personality derive from its capacity to appropriate more and more of its being to consciousness. Thus, the expansion of consciousness is also the enrichment of personality, and the highest development of personality is when consciousness becomes coexistensive and identical with being. This is the attainment of the fullness of being, the flowering of personality, the perfect integration of character. Theoretically, therefore, the energy generated in a cyclotron of personality such as this must be immense in range and power. Quantity versus quality in human energy resources. An ordinary individual functioning at the lowest level of being can be viewed as a limited quantity of explicit power and limitless packet of implicit energy. His available energy is mostly the product of chemical combustion in his muscles and partly of an indefinable combustion in his mind. When the same individual becomes a hero, there is a vast release of energy in his personality, but the chemical combustion in his muscles may not show any appreciable increase in quantity. Nay, it will even show a decrease in value in certain types with a corresponding increase in mental field. The quantity of released energy is thus determined by the quality of the energy source. As we deal with finer and finer energy sources, the quantity of energy released is found to be out of all proportion of the quantity of energy sources. The quantity of food needed to supply fuel to the muscles is always more than what is required for the nerves and the mind. In the case of the latter, the energy source is of a higher quality, and the energy released is more compared to the quantity of the energy source. Ordinary digestion is a chemical process of combustion. Mental digestion is a release of energy on a higher plane. It bears the same relation to the physical digestion as electrical release to the chemical release of energy. There is a third and higher order of digestion, namely spiritual digestion, in which there occurs a total assimilation of ideals and values by which a person becomes value incarnate or ideal incarnate in the full sense of the term. The development of atomic science has made humanity aware of a new source of energy in the physical world, the atomic nucleus, whose fission as well as fusion liberate energies, the quantity value of which is out of all proportion to the infinitesimal quantity value of its energy source. The process of conversion of quantity into quality is complete here, and the Einsteinian formula for nuclear energy, E equals mc square, may be considered as a state of residue-less and total conversion of matter into energy in the physical world. The above considerations help us to place in clear perspective the nature and source of energy in the human and its grades and varieties. The Vedantic statement that each individual is a potential center of infinite energy will now appear to be a soberer truth containing a hopeful message. The difference between person and person is not in his being, but only in his becoming, in his expression. The dullness of the dullard and the brilliance of the bright are only differences in expression, proceeding from the difference in the tapped energy sources. And these energy sources, in the case of the human, as in the case of physical entities, belong to an ascending order of fineness and subtlety, inwardness and purity, beginning with his body and its environing world, and ending with the very center or nucleus of his being. The Atman, the true self in the human, the end value of all subtleness, immensity, and inwardness. In the words of Shankara in his commentary on the Katha Upanishad, and the Swami quotes here, as there is no higher reality than the self, which is a mass of pure awareness only, therefore it, the self, is the basis and consummation of all grades of subtleness, immensity, and inwardness. Unquote. The center of experience as a center of the universe. Vedanta holds that looking out into the starry heavens of outer space or into the misty past or future of time to locate the center of being of the universe is a fruitless undertaking. It also appears as a thoroughly meaningless venture in the light of a science which dares to weld space and time into a space-time unity and which views the universe and everything in it as events or configurations of that space-time. To Vedanta, the center of experience is a center of the universe, physical as well as non-physical, and this supreme center is the real self of the human being, the Atman, the unchanging basis of an ever-changing universe composed of both nature and personality, above cause and therefore above time, the seer of the space-time events, in the abyss of whose silence the distinction between the space-time and its perceiver, the objects and the subject, the non-selves and the self, is transcended in the final truth of perfect non-duality. The Srimad Bhagavat sings the glory of this shining truth in these memorable verses. When translated, they say, "In whom is this universe? From whom is this universe? And by whom is this universe? Who himself is this universe who is beyond the familiar world of effect and unfamiliar world of cause? It is that self-existent reality do I take refuge. Yasmin idam yataschedam yenadam ya idam swayam yosmat parasmat cha para tam prapadye swayam bhuva." The divinity of the Avatara. It is this reality that the Avatara assimilates to his consciousness, a reality that is the nucleus not merely of a physical universe of 3 or 4 dimensions, but the nucleus of the entire range of the universe of experience. A reality that can be best described as the non-dimensional center of a multidimensional universe, each having the value of infinity. The nature of this non-dual reality, which transcends every range of relation, including causality, and which escapes every attempt of thought and speech to capture it, has been indicated in the famous verse from the Vedas. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavishshyate. That reality is infinite or full. This universe is infinite or full. From the infinite has come the infinite. After the infinite has been taken out of the infinite alone remains. It is this reality that radiates through the highly sensitive physical and mental personality of the Avatara, to whom naturally nothing in the universe is hidden, the high-frequency vibration of whose knowledge have the power to penetrate not only the muscles and minerals of the universe, but also its minds and mysteries. The Mandukya Karika gives expression to the nature of this highest grade type of knowledge in some famous lines. It says, Jnane aksha kalpena dharmanyo gaganopaman Neya bhinnena samuddhastam vande dvipadam varam. I salute the best among men who, through his jnana, knowledge or reason, which is infinite in nature and non-different from Neya or object of knowledge, realized its non-difference form, the dharmas or subjects, which are again infinite in nature. Energy, physical versus spiritual. The atomic energy generated in a cyclotron, immense as it is when measured in terms of the particular available energies in the universe, pales into insignificance in range and power before the mighty energies that an Avatara compasses within himself. As a charcoal hearth pales into insignificance before an electric oven, and both before an atomic furnace, so also appears an ordinary human being and an ordinary hero by the side of an Avatara, whose extraordinary power to love and to save makes him an object of wonder and reverence to all his fellow men. The nature and scope of this extraordinary power of his is different from the atomic and other energies mastered by science. The latter can run a chain of industries or destroy a city, but is powerless before subtler realities of mind and heart, which control its production as much as its use and misuse. It, or even something infinitely less than it, can doubtless destroy the physical configuration of the Avatara, but this is the least part of his being. His energy, on the other hand, can penetrate into and control the mind and heart of the human being that produce and control atomic and other energies in the world. It has the unique power to burn up the ignorance, impurities, and passions in the human heart and bestow on people a fuller and larger life. Its penetrating and soothing power compared to that of the atomic and other energies is evident from this. But his energy, colossal as it is yet cool and gentle. It is beneficent. It radiates, in the words of Ramakrishna, and Swami quotes, light without heat as a shining gem, unquote. Wonderful indeed is the heart of an Avatara, the delicate and intricate mechanism of which can convert scorching heat into soothing light, sorrows and sufferings into joys and delights, passion into purity and hatred into love, the biting winds of despair into the gentle breeze of hope, the poison of death into the nectar of immortality. The Avatara as the Dvipadam Varam. This is the conception of the Avatara in Indian philosophic thought. He is the Dvipadam Varam, the best and the highest among Homo sapiens, in the words of the Mandukya Karika quoted above. The term Avatara indicates the totality of knowledge and the power and beneficence gathered in a personality, the visible part of which, his physical life with its earthly setting, is, as in the case of the cyclotron, a highly deceptive mask covering the magnitude of the contents within. This occasional concentration of beneficent energy in a mighty personality has only one historic purpose to serve: to accelerate the spiritual evolution of humanity. He scatters what he gathers, and a tide sets in the affairs of people. The spiritually sensitive who are alert and waiting take the tide as its food and move up spiritually. Others are left unaffected except indirectly. He represents for humanity the achievement of the high tide of character and spiritual awareness. He is ablaze with divinity, a fact recognized only by a discerning few but missed by the multitude due to his physical mask. The Gita refers to this fact in 4 well-known verses, and they translated mean something on these lines. As the Swami says, "The deluded despise me clad in a human body, not knowing my higher nature as the Lord of all existence." Then he goes on to say, "The great souled ones, however, O Arjuna, who abide in the divine nature, knowing me as the imperishable source of all beings, worship me with an undistracted mind. He who knows thus, in its true nature, my divine birth and works, is not born again into the body. Having transcended it through such knowledge, he comes to my fate, O Arjuna." delivered from passion, fear, and anger, absorbed in me, taking refuge in me. Many, purified by the austerity of wisdom, have attained to my stable state of mind. Conclusion. It is this concentrated and intense life energy that enables an Avatara to defy time itself, which wears out and chokes up all other types of greatness, and to make it flow in the reverse direction in his case. The interpretive process of history finds in his case substantial material for interpretation. He sets in motion a current of beneficent energy that flows on irresistibly to compose the distraction of an age. The humanity finds in him a focus for its transcendent affections and loyalties, and a promise of its hope and aspirations. And the world finds his personality growing generation after generation. This mutually reinforcing synthesis of lived life and historical interpretation explains the transformation in the course of time of a simple individual, indistinguishable from most of his contemporaries, into a gigantic personality, commanding the head and heart of a larger generation and a later generation. It is no wonder that men and women in India have learned to find in a personality such as this an embodiment of their deepest spiritual aspirations and manifestation of the highest reality, clearer and more adequate than what our intellects can ever conceive of, and have accorded to such, whether indigenous or foreign, divine honors and devout worship. Such an attitude and worship signifies a confluence of the religion of the human being and the religion of God, tending to make religion more human and the human more divine. Thank you, friends, for your time and attention as we conclude this episode today. It might be interesting for you to know that this talk too was offered by the Swami over All India Radio in Delhi way back in 1950 on March 17th. In the next episode, we will read another new chapter discussing one of the greatest of avatars in the Hindu faith, Sri Krishna. The chapter is titled The Personality of Sri Krishna, and Swami Ranganathananda traces this legendary divine life from boyhood to the majesty of a ruler. Thank you for your presence here today, friends. Till next time, this is your host, Preetha Lal. Namaste.